1585 Moline Street. We're here to take a second look at a sewer. We had another company come out and they couldn't get very far from their accesses and said that they thought the cast iron was all shot. What you're looking at is an area in the clay tile out in behind the building in the alley that I think is within a foot or two of the tap to the city. Up until here, the clay tiles looked fine. It's looked really good, no roots, anything. But there is some really large grease buildup here that's probably been accumulating for many, many, many years. Because that just doesn't happen overnight. That is a long-term, hard, greasy buildup. Can't see anything of the pipe around it. It's probably just from heavy use. High flow goes through here, the grease splashes against the top of the pipe and then builds up. But it definitely will require a cleaning because that is small enough that my camera can't even get through it. But here's our rest of our clay. Same thing's occurring at this drop too. You got greasy buildup on the back side of the pipe. That's why I think what's going on down there is the same. High volume flowing over the top of it. Alright, so it's just a high volume splashing grease on the top of the pipe on those downward transitions. We're a touch foggy through here. That's because there was some grease that we had to go through in the cast iron portion that's kind of got a little film on our lens. There's not much we can do about that. The access is difficult enough, and you get back in and you're going to go through the exact same areas again and have the same effect. But there's no damage out here that we can see anywhere in the clay. The clay looks really good. The unions are very well lined up. There hasn't been much movement at all. We're back inside the building here. And this last 25 feet or so had the worst greasy buildup, and that's probably about normal too. What the other company was claiming that they saw rusted out pipe is more likely a scenario just like this, where you have two tall ridges of greasy buildup on both sides of the pipe, and they give the impression that there's a V in the bottom of the pipe, which would indicate rusted out. That's not the case. It's the grease itself that makes it look like that. Someone just flushed, so we will be blind for a second or two here. Oh, that foot of sleep is going to be 10 times worse than the last one. You see how kind of right through here that grease is restricting flow, making it much deeper in there than it should be. That's all greasy buildup through there. That was the worst area of it. We have ridges all the way back through this next 10 or 15 feet that are there. But that last 20 feet of cast iron is by far the nastiest if you don't count that big old glop out by the tap. This generally would indicate to me a sewer that's been functioning pretty well though, because it means that they haven't had any emergency backups that they've had to deal with on a regular basis, or this stuff wouldn't be here. It's where an upstairs is tying in a set of 2 apartments, and you always see more grease around one of those tie-ins. But nowhere in here do we see a good clean section of pipe like this where the V is still there in the bottom. This is all very normal looking pipe. Oh, yeah. The bathroom right now, this building's only accesses are these toilet sweeps. And they're kind of a tough access. What you could do is in one of these end units, behind the wall where this bathroom, this toilet stub is a vertical stack. That vertical stack could possibly already have a clean out on it that would just need to be exposed. But if not, you can add one. Put a clean out in behind one of these units on this end, preferably this unit, because it gets into the big line the fastest and easiest. And then you have an access for cleaning this thing. Because at the last apartment down at unit 3, this drop here to get into this 6-inch pipe is actually 14 feet away from the toilet through quite a nasty series of turns. Whereas here, it is a foot away. That's that vertical stack right there that's in the wall. And this is our toilet suite here in unit 1. So door, toilet suite. In this wall where the supply line is, there is a stack in there. And it would be a good place for an access. Oh yeah, the fact that none of these units have that hole already put in there tells you the history of this thing has been good. That kind of greasy buildup happens over many years. The kind of look it has, when it's something that happens really quickly, the grease is actually much brighter and much whiter. And that's in a scenario where you have some issues with the line about slope, and then people that are just abusing the bejeebus out of it and just dumping grease down it like crazy. The grease will be extremely white. Now, in this case, all of that buildup, it's taken years and years and years for that to happen. The fact that there's no clean out in this building anywhere tells you that it's not had frequent problems, or someone would have put an access in by now. I've been in hundreds of apartment buildings when we were doing drain cleaning. If it has regular problems, there's a clean out somewhere. Because eventually your drain cleaner will demand it. So overall, this looks to me like a sewer that just needs a cleaning. So we'll stop there.